Bhagavad Sanga program. This is our Srimad Bhagavatam program. We're meeting after a week of break, and we are currently reading Lord Brahma's prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14. The verses are 1 to 14. Today we have a very wonderful devotee child who's very talented and has a lot of devotion. Dhriti. Dhriti will be giving the class today. Hare Krishna, Dhriti.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, Hare Krishna everyone. We'll start off with my prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Srinvasam Sakala Krishna Punashravana Kirtana Hidayan Anta Stado Hi Abhitrani Vidayanti Shutsatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Saya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakta Bhavati Nashtaki Oma Jnanam Tirandasya Jnana Jnana Chalakaya Chakshurum Unmitam Yena Tasma Shri Guruve Namaha Ukam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Manne Shri Gurum Dinataranam. So I will be telling you the backstory of what the Brahma prayers. So after Agasara's life mingled with the Lord Krishna came with his fellow cowherd on the bank of Yamuna. They left their cattle to graze freely, and they sat together to make their lunch. All of the cowherds tasted one another's food, as they wanted to feed Krishna with the tasty food. Meanwhile, surprised by Agasara's salvation, Brahma too had arrived there and saw Krishna eating food, defiled by the cowherds. With the sight, Brahma grew suspicious if Krishna was indeed an incarnation of the Lord. Thus, driven by delusion, and to test the authenticity of the Lord's incarnation, Brahma kidnapped all the cattle first, and then, when Krishna went out to search for the cattle, Brahma kidnapped and concealed the cowherds also. Soon Lord Krishna understood the craftiness of Brahma, so he multiplied himself into his fellow cowherds and cattle. Replicas resemble truly to the cowherds in appearance, complexion, nature, activities, voice, sticks, and even in costumes. The replicas remained to exist for a complete 1 year. Back there, when Brahma returned after hiding the cowherds and the cattle, he was stunned to see the cowherds and cattle as usual. Brahma was feeling dizzy when Lord bestowed his grace on him. Brahma saw Lord Narayana in every dust particle. Brahma therefore bowed his head at the feet of the Lord and said, O Lord, I submit before you. You can be won only with devotion and not by ego. No one can know your omnipresent appearance. Thus praying and worshipping Lord Narayana, Brahma returned to his abode. Sukadev says the cowards remained separated from God for 1 year, but they felt as only if a half a second passed, because of the illusionary influence of the god. That is why they related the incident of Agasura killing to their parents only after a year it took place. The verse that I chose today is 14.6. Tatapi bhuman mahima gunasyate vibho dummahati amalatratmabihi avikrayat svanubhavanurupato henanyavaudatmataya nachanyata. Translation. Non-devotees, however, cannot realize you in your full personal feature. Nevertheless, it may be possible for them to realize your expansion as the impersonal supreme by cultivating direct perception of the self within the heart. But they can do this only by purifying their mind and senses of all conception, and material distinctions, and all attachment to the material sense objects. Only in this way will your impersonal feature manifest itself to them. So, in this first verse, Brahma glorifies Krishna by saying, your transcendental body is blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and his face of your beauty is enchanted by your guna earrings and the peacock feathers on your head. In the next verse, Brahma admits that he stole the cowherd boys and the cows. He likes the fact that Krishna is really kind to everybody. He gets bewildered that Krishna now took a form in a child. Despite the fact that he's kind, it is very hard to understand the pastime. He also says that if I cannot understand your childish form, how can I understand your pastimes? It is said that even if you understand only 0.1% of the pastime, we will for sure go back to Godhead. The Lord doesn't have any eyes or ears to see and or hear. He can see and or hear without a material body also. Each working senses does not have a specific job. The description of Krishna is far out of general Vedic knowledge. So all these pastimes of Krishna are pastimes that are performed by Vishnu. In 10.14.3, it is said that if one makes up their own God, it is very Mayavadi-ish thinking. But if one hears about Krishna, they go back to Godhead. There are three ways a devotee can attain to Krishna: by their mind, words, and body. But those who are not devotees cannot attain Krishna. Krishna is always conquered by his devotees. It is said that Lord Krishna's body is conquered because he always remains by the side of his pure devotees. Lord Krishna's words are conquered because he always chanted the glories of his devotees. And Lord Krishna's mind is conquered because he always thinks about his loving devotees. And engaging these three things to Krishna, we can learn from Krishna and go back to God. In 10.14.4, devotional service is the best path for the success of going to Krishna. But sometimes some people can get off the path, and this person might want to get more into this unauthorized Vedic knowledge or artificial process. He will go through a lot of suffering, but will not achieve the goal of life. It will lead to lots of material things, but the one thing the material world cannot have is real happiness, Krishna. Going back to God takes time, Krishna says. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. His only gain is trouble. In 10.14.4, it says, lots of devotees have reached such high standards of devotional service by giving up all of the material desires and doing their prescribed duties. Just by hearing about Krishna and chanting about him, we can easily go to him. In 10.14.4, a non-devotee, or say atheist, they don't believe in any God. If they grasp that devotion, they can understand the Brahman realization. The only way to purify the senses is to detach from the material things. So this is basically the first step from an atheist to a Mayavadi. From being a Mayavadi to an actual devotee is an easy way, but from this atheist to a believing at least there's something from God is a good thing. So at least we start with this first step. And 10.14.8, a devotee that waits to take the shelter of you in your gift of causeless mercy while he undergoes the bad karma is a true devotee of yours that can be liberated. A devotee that waits for Krishna patiently will not have to have his past deeds come back, but a devotee sometimes might have a devilish mind and will have some deeds come back to him. We came in this material world because we did not understand actual happiness and wanted to have this false or fake happiness. Krishna does this to teach us that we don't need to be in this material world and we can go back to Godhead. A true devotee will accept his fate and then will be a Krishna. In 10.14.9, in this verse, Brahma realizes that Krishna is God and his illusions are nothing compared to Krishna, the master of illusions. So, when I was in third grade, I saw this video of from the smallest planet to the largest planet. So, the smallest planet that is Ceres is 950 kilometers, which is around 600 miles. That is the position of Brahma. And the universe, which is 150 billion light years, represents the master of illusions, Krishna. So I know that the universe is not much for Krishna, but there's way more to him, but this is where I can compare him to. In 10.14.10, Brahma asks for forgiveness of what he's done. He admits that he was in the mode of passion and ignorance ever since he was small. He thinks that he was the great soul yet to be born to be this great God. But now he asks for the to be the servant of the servant of the servant of him. Dasanu dasanu dasa. He has forgiveness without any fee, fee as in karma. It is said that when in the material world, we do not remember our relationship with Krishna and forget our relationship. But now that Brahma is in full focus on Krishna, he will now remember his position. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Dhriti, you're done? Okay, that was good. So thank you, Dhriti. You narrated the story very beautifully and you summarized the verses 3 to 6 very nicely. And I like the points that you made about describing Krishna's beauty and then how devotees with their mind, body, and words, they can attain Krishna and non-devotees cannot. And the point that you made just now is how we came to this material world because we did not understand what the actual happiness is. And we looked at this false or the fake happiness. And that's why we are here, right? And the actual happiness is with Krishna. So we should go back to Krishna. And I like that comparison you gave, that the video you watched in third grade of, in the big picture, when we see how big the universe is and how small we are, right? It gives a really good perspective. So very nicely you covered. Thank you, Dhriti. I know you have a lot of time. Do you want to add something more?
Mataji, that's it. I think.
Okay, all right. Awesome. Okay, thank you, Dhriti. Thank you, devotees, for joining today. We will see you all next week.